We are back once again. It is Film Don't Lie on A2D Radio, and we are brought to you by Alonzi Travel, specializing in creating the vacation of your dreams at Disney, Universal, or wherever your heart calls you. Reach out to get a quote and start planning. My email is charles@alonzi-travel.com, and you can see that scrolling at the bottom throughout the show. So if you need it, it is right there for you. It's your boy Chucks back again with Mr. OG Pete Evans, my bro. How are you? How's your internet holding up so far? Because I know you've been having internet issues. And if you're listening or watching, if his internet goes out and it's suddenly a solo show for me, you know why? Because he's been having internet issues all day. But so far, so good. But how you doing? How you feeling, bro?
I'm here, present. Like roll call in class, and they say, "Hey, like substitute teacher." And who's here? I'm here. So we are making this work.
Yes, we are. A unit that's not making it work right now is the Eagles offense. For a second straight week, well, I guess you can say third straight week, they failed to put together 4 quarters of consistent football. So what we're going to do, which is a little change up from our usual approach, we are going to give a preview of the Eagles versus Giants Thursday night football game, because with us specializing in Eagles content, not just NFL content, we figured, hey, Eagles play Thursday night, great opportunity for us to get ahead of the sticks, quote unquote, and give you our thoughts on the Eagles versus Giants and the matchups and what we believe the Eagles need to do to fix their issues on offense heading into that matchup. And then once we finish that, we will dive into our film review game, which is going to be the Seahawks versus Buccaneers, which was probably the game of the week in Week 5. So we have a lot to cover, a lot to say about that game. So very eager to dissect the film on that. And then obviously we'll end up with no huddle, give you some quick hitting topics. But let's lead it off. Let's get into it. So Eagles versus Giants. Now, Pete, we've talked a lot about already, like between us and our chats. We've talked a lot about or we've discussed between us the issues from the Eagles and Broncos game and the Eagles falling to the Broncos. And I'm sure if you're listening, you've heard a lot about the reactions to that, the reviews and stuff like that. So I don't want to dive too much into Eagles Broncos. What I want to do is let's take the issues we saw from that. How would we go about fixing that for the Thursday night game against the Giants? Let's go back and forth. We'll alternate. So you go first. Name one way, one solution you think the Eagles need to do to fix everything, because there's a lot of stuff. So it's not just one thing. I'm sure there's not just one thing. So you lead it off. What's the first thing you would do to fix the offensive issues for the Eagles against the Giants?
Execution at the offensive line, run blocking, sometimes pass blocking, better ways to handle simulated pressures. That's a lot of different things that I just threw out there. But it really, essentially, if you want to sum all that up, fundamentals. Honestly, the fundamentals on how you want to execute a play and making sure that we are efficient when we do it. Because, truth be told, they have been playing better. The Giants have been playing better. Theoretically, they have. The Chargers was a surprising win, but as you can kind of see, what are the Chargers now after Washington Commanders? They lost also Hampton as well. So
yeah.
But for the Eagles side, I feel bad for the Giants because you're getting a motivated, angry team, and an angry team that's kind of frustrated at themselves. So this isn't a must win. It's nowhere near that. But this is how is this team going to respond? Because this is really the first time they've had adversity in over a year.
Yep. And Saquon touched on that.
This is the first time they've had adversity in over a year. They've had some issues sparingly, but they've still been winning.
Commanders game, right? Yeah. He alluded to I think he just talked about how that was the last loss. But yeah, if you want to talk about true adversity, maybe it is, before that. Because the Commanders loss in December last year wasn't really adversity. Like, Hurts left the game early. So, we never really, panicked.
I would phrase it as this is the first time in over a year they have questions that they don't know if they have the answers. You know what I mean? Obviously, that Commanders loss, Hurts was out. Okay, cool. Sitting for 2 weeks. Comes back in the playoffs. Let's go. This is where, hey, you said in the last 3 weeks they haven't put four quarters of football. I would say they haven't put four quarters of football together in 5 games. They have not played a complete game to where you felt like like you almost roll with the momentum. Like it was like we've had these moments like we're holding on by the seat of our pants as fans, right? And then it's like we're riding high. It's 0 to 100 real quick. And I would say the Denver game, because once again, I don't think enough the common Eagles fan, I would say, the common eyes don't really realize how good Denver's defense is and what questions that they pose. And to have that defense, even with the inefficiencies, and be up 14 points in the fourth quarter, that's you could take something away from that. And that's even in spite of the issues that they've been having, right? So where this Giants game is this is what we used to call a get right game. It's exactly what it is. It is a get right game. And they just really have to fucking execute. And I'm not saying execute to kind of give Sirianni a pass where he wants to execute on the simple stuff. It's the plays that they call, the run fits that they call, protections. And I'll stop it there because I could keep going and I'll take it from you. So I don't want that to happen. So,
it's interesting you said protections and stuff like that with it starts with the offensive line. If I'm gonna add to that, I want to know what's going on. I don't necessarily have the answer to this, but I am confused right now about how the protections are being set. I mean, not necessarily how in terms of because we know that
right
as of last year, Jalen Hurts is the one setting the protections along with Cam Jurgens. So I know that, and technically that's how. But what is going on in terms of who are they assigning these things to? What is their approach to setting these protections against the sim pressures? Because not only do I find it questionable, because they don't have answers right now to these sim pressures. They're to these teams crowding the line of scrimmage, not knowing who they're going to send, and then they send 4, but you never you don't know if it's 2 on each side. You don't know if it's 3 and 1. You don't know who's coming. They haven't been able to solve that. So, what is their approach to these protections? And then I need to know it's 5 weeks in a row now where Saquon Barkley has had a mishap in pass protection, and I don't know what it is. And it seems to be a similar issue every week where when you have the offensive line sliding to the right, you have a 3-man slide to the say to the one side, right, the strong side, let's say, and then the running back with Saquon is supposed to have dual read on the backside, but when the ball is snapped, he's continually looking front side, and Saquon has been too good at pass pro throughout his career for me to think, okay, he's just not doing this. This is just a mistake after mistake. There has to be something that they are telling him to do. I don't know what it is. And it goes outside the norm of typical running back protection assignments. So if they are doing something outside the box in that regard, so be it. But so far it isn't working. It's not working at all. So I don't know if that's the right approach. So that's what I mean. And I don't have the answer to that. I'm not in the room, but they need to get that fixed. They absolutely need to get that fixed. So yeah, I just wanted to add that too, because you talked about protections and the offensive line and blocking that goes into it. So for me, the first thing I would do to kind of fix all these issues is let's spread it out. All right, let's spread this out. Okay, they did more of that against the Broncos, which I was glad to see, but we need consistently more because these condensed formations are not working.
Because when you're in condensed, what's the one thing they're not doing right now so well? And that's not attention to detail. And when you're in a condensed formation, the time and the sequencing, you have to execute, and everybody has to play the part. And for whatever it's worth, they're just not doing that right now. So when you spread it out, that kind of, you don't have to be as perfect. You know what I mean? For
more space,
things to hit. So I agree with you there. Spread it out.
Because like in the condensed one, teams that specialize in condensed formations like the Rams, they're known for it, right? Why does it work for them? Because they marry their run game in the pass game. So they're running out of those formations and they're successful at it because it's not so much like now, but before years ago, like in the Todd Gurley days, right? They would run a lot of outside zones. So running outside zone out of condensed is ideal. But then like you have concepts of the passing game that tie into that. Yep. So it was working. And then in the passing game, what they would do is they would use those condensed formations to hit a lot of like outbreaking routes because now you have essentially all slot receivers, right? All your receivers are in the slot. Now they have more room to the outside to work. So like that's when you have now this Eagles team, it's not working because that's not how these offensive skill players, like that's not how they work, you know, and you need this, and it's not the strength of Jalen Hurts either. He likes this, he's awesome at spreading it out. And when it's spread formation, you have the spacing. So they need to like spread it out more. And like included in that, like they need to go to, I know the trend in the NFL right now is to go like with so much 12 personnel. That's like the new in thing right now. And it's working for a lot of teams. And I agree with it. Like it's an awesome thing. But in order to do that, you need a second tight end who can block. And what have I been pounding the table at? Like the point I've been saying over and over is that we don't have backup tight ends who can block. So Calcaterra, Granson, Latu, like I don't stop putting them on the field. Just go 11, spread it out and go 11 and have your run game and pass game lean more towards those formations and personnel. So I think that's the first thing I would say. The second thing I would say, and I think you 100% agree with this, is the sequencing needs to continue to build and improve. Like we're gonna get into it because we have like a few clips from it, but there was like a hint of good sequencing from Patullo against the Broncos that needs to continue to get better. Like you need to be able. It's still overall too erratic and random. And
it almost feels like Patullo is thinking 1 or 2 steps ahead, but not 3 or 4 steps. Like he's not prepared in the response for the defense's response to his response. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when he catches them off guard a little bit. And we see that the first, second, third drives. But then once the defensive coordinator on the other side makes an adjustment, it's almost like he didn't expect that, or he doesn't know, like he kind of doesn't know where to go from that. So it almost seems ill prepared. Like we talked about the wheel route to Saquon. Jalen checked to that play.
Yeah.
Could you have done, like you talked about so much with the sequence with the Rams would hit that play from that formation, run the same formation, and have somebody else be the primary target. Or a different route be the primary target.
Exactly.
We're not doing that. And I will say I'm getting tired of the team saying that's just not who we, and that's kind of the sentiment I'm getting. That's not who we are. That's not what we do. Where the players obviously feel completely different because they feel like these alpha males at the 2 wide receivers positions, the quarterback and the running back, they feel like we can run any offense. You know what I mean? So why why are you limiting us in our success? So as you were. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's just like we have I want to offer like the silver lining of like each week we have seen steady, or we have seen improvements from Patullo, but like we're getting to the point in the season where like you got to pick it up. So like I need to see him like continue to build. That's the sequencing aspect of his play calling, and so that needs to get better. So that's my second point. So now I'll go back to you. Like what's your second solution that you would go for the Eagles?
QDRs, man. QB design runs.
Yeah, that was one of the next ones. Yep.
Some RPOs, things that, and the crazy thing is, you've played teams the last 3 weeks to where you had to get creative. I mean, it is the National Football League. It's cliche, as we said it last week. It's hard to win in this league. Hell, they didn't do it this past Sunday. I don't know if on Thursday you need to empty out the bag against this team to beat them. Just from a personal perspective, that doesn't mean you shouldn't. But we've heard this before. We've heard OCs and head coaches say, like, hey, like, we don't want to show them everything. You know what I mean? So, and it's kind of like they'll purposely withhold stuff. But at this point with this team, there's too much lack of attention to detail. And we all seen, if you're an Eagles fan and you're watching this, every NFL team has a YouTube channel. But with one of the themes from last year's team with Sirianni was tough detail together. Tough detail together. He would say that constantly. That was the mantra. There's no detail now. Mm-hmm. There's not enough of it, especially in the offensive side of the ball. I hear my echo for some reason.
I don't hear anything.
Okay, maybe it's just me on my end. Just turn my mic volume down.
So yeah, I definitely hear you on the QB run game. Like, they should have done that more against the Broncos. Like, we had a debate about, like, we know about Saquon and how he didn't have enough runs against the Broncos, which I don't. Looking at how that game went and the defense that the Broncos were playing, I don't have a huge issue with it. But what I do agree on is that they should have thrown a counter, or, like, they should have done more QB design runs with Jalen Hurts to help keep that defense on its toes, and they didn't. So if you wanted to burn more clock in that second half and get the ground game going, but you're concerned about the success of the run game with Saquon, then have Jalen Hurts make them pay, and they didn't do enough of that. So I 100% agree with the QB design runs. I also, when in sticking with team with the run game, and what they didn't do enough of against the Broncos, like, they looked like they were gonna have some success running to the outside, like, right. That first run I think it was the first run in the game, it was in the first quarter at least. Like, that 17-yard run by Saquon was a pitch to the outside.
The run or the pitch?
The pitch. So, like, it was like that toss play. So, like, he's getting to the outside. I've been saying it for weeks now. Like, with the interior of the offensive line struggling the way it is, get to the outside, more outside zone, more counter, more toss, and there were plays to be had. And that one play, the beginning of that same possession where AJ, that missed shot to AJ, that same possession on first down, on 1st and 10, they were going to do a toss play to Saquon, but AJ got flagged for a false start. Yeah. And if you see, and I have it on my Twitter, if you want to go check it out, like, I broke down every play from that possession. They had numbers. That could have been a big gain, but because of the false start, none. But, like, they didn't go to it.
Self-inflicted
mistakes.
Yeah. Uncharacteristic things.
But they need to be able to continue to do that. Like, this Giants defense can be had on the edges. So, again, a second opponent in a row where you can get to them on the outside. So get to the outside in the run game. So that's
this is really not the defensive line you want to kind of be coming into when you have some offensive line questions. That's a concern. How would you feel about them actually running out of under center? Because there's somebody in these clips that we're going to talk about later in the show, and what he does out of from under center. And what the offensive line is, because they can kind of just explode upward instead of trying to push being level, right? Not saying, obviously, not to opposite ends of the extreme and go super heavy, but maybe something, 2 or 3 under center runs, 2 or 3 under center formations.
The issue, I would love that. The issue with that is it can only work if you are if you're showing some threat of a passing game out of that formation. The issue with the Eagles,
play action off of
it. The issue with the Eagles is when they're in, well, mainly it's been pistol, but like even if they're under center, it's a huge tell to the defense that they're running the ball. So that won't matter right now unless if they start passing out of that. And it can be, they don't have to be like the Seahawks, which we'll get into later in the show. They don't have to be like the Seahawks. The Eagles can run play action off of it, but you've got to do something other than run when you're either in pistol or under center. So that won't work. Going under center won't necessarily work until you do that. But yeah, I think if they just, their concepts are fine. They can still have success at a shotgun, but they have to get to the outside.
It almost feels like it's almost like an author who's started a book and who feels like the book is almost finished, and now you have to add a new chapter. You have to add a new character, right? Yeah. So it's not, you have to just rip all the pages out the book and start over, but you need to do something, throw a little flair on it, throw a little wrinkle into it. But in order to do so, you can't lose sight of the fundamentals. And that's where I think the fundamentals, I almost kind of want to see this game, even if they don't change anything, we don't see anything new on Thursday. But if the fundamentals and they're able to run the ball effectively and they're able to execute that, then you can start to build off of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They kind of have to get back to that.
Yeah, if they clean it up and not have any self-inflicted mistakes like they did against the Broncos, they'll win. So, all of these things, it all just starts with just stop shooting yourself in the foot. Like, if you do that, you could probably scrape by against the Giants, but overall, you don't want them to scrape by. You want them to be on there.
Right, you want to win. I mean, you take away the Zach Bond play just on defense, just to hit on that. The one matchup that I see Q struggle with is a wide receiver like Sutton. A bigger body, point and catch, high point the ball. Not saying Q's not physical, but that is the one type of the wide receiver that he struggles with the most. And that's just from physics, right? Like him and DK isn't as fit. Like Sutton is probably one of the more physical wide receivers in the league, especially at the catch point.
Yes. Oh yeah.
There's not too many like him. DK is probably a similar size, but doesn't play the position the same way. But yeah, the Zach Bond play, I mean, even if it's fighting for more yards, it's like there's so many things to where we said it. One of the echoes from this game. Yes, it's a loss and it's a loss in the column, but the Eagles beat themselves.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like Denver beat them. The Eagles beat themselves. You see what I'm saying? Where with the Rams game, yes, they came back 26 unanswered. They made a play at the end of the game, field goal block. However unlikely it was, the Eagles won that game. The Bucs game, the Eagles won that game, right? Chiefs game, the Eagles won that game. And where they just lost it. There's certain things you could do to help you win, and there's certain things you could do to help you lose.
Yeah,
finish everything out. AJ, finish all your routes. I don't care how tired you are.
Well, that goes into another solution I have is these wide receivers, and not just AJ, but he's probably the biggest culprit. But so many these wide receivers that we have, they're not running full speed on their routes. And when that happens, there are a couple of things that are affected by it. One, your clear out routes don't influence the defenders. Therefore, your progressions to whoever you're targeting, that spacing is not going to be there. You're not going to have enough spacing and proper leverage for those receivers to have that you want to target. And every inch counts. We know that. So you need to have whoever's running a clear out route needs to run that full speed, even if they're not getting the ball. They need to run that full speed. And then the other thing is it's affecting is the scramble drill. One of the things that I really wanted to see improve from Jalen Hurts' standpoint and Eagles as a whole is throwing outside the pocket when he scrambles. Whenever he gets outside the pocket, it's only really a successful play if he runs. but I need to see him make more plays passing the ball. And what is that? That's on him. He needs to be able to keep his eyes up and downfield and see the field as he's getting outside the pocket.
Right.
And also, these receivers need to do a better job in the scramble at working back to him or running their routes, continuing to run the routes full speed. Because if they're just jogging and they stop, of course they're not going to be a target anymore. They need to continue running, and that little detail is affecting those two aspects of the passing game. So they need to be able to do that. And then, like, the other thing the last thing probably I wanted to address is these route progressions. And I think it was Kurt Warner over the offseason where he was doing an interview with Eagles Eric on his show on Eagles Pinpool Network. He was saying that these offenses that run full field progressions, they're just, a lot of them are just making it harder on the quarterback. Like,
right.
It benefits the quarterback when you have route progressions that work themselves into the line of sight of the quarterback. So if their first progression, if they're looking to the right, for example, and their first progression is covered, it's not there, have it so that the second receiver or the second progression is doing, say, for example, like a crossing route where they're working to that side of the field so that it's easier for the QB to see them. And then the third progression is doing similar to where they are in that line of sight, instead of having to go progression one to one side, progression two to the left side,
right,
and then having to work all the way back to the right side for progression three. And that doesn't make sense.
So you couple that with also the fact that the O-line isn't blocking as well.
Yeah.
And what does that lead to? That leads to inefficiency. It leads to Jalen leaving somewhat not dirty pockets, but not as clean pockets, and everything feels rushed.
Yes.
At least the disgruntledness. I mean, like, because here's the thing, like Devontae said, he says, I run the play that's called. But there's definitely some sentiment to where they feel as if the play that's being called isn't the most efficient play to make them successful. So how do you, like we heard about it Monday, that Saquon, AJ, and Jalen met, had a lengthy discussion. People will say, oh, they needed this for the Kumbaya, all that. They want to figure out how they can win. What do they need to do? How do we, like how week 5 last year was that cataclysmic week to where they had, we're going to run the ball. That's going to be our identity, right?
Yep.
And then that set the tempo for the rest of the year. Obviously now this is more player driven, where I don't know. I would love to have heard that KP was in that meeting. You see what I'm saying? Or Nick was in that meeting. Some coaches was in that meeting. Like a players only meeting. Like, okay, cool. But what do we do from there? How's it going to skin? Like, I feel as if the Eagles right now with the coaching staff that they have could be successful during a regular season. But if you I don't think KP is ready for a big game as far as a game plan. And honestly, Nick has been so far removed from that. I don't even think Nick is right now. Like in game, cool. But as far as like game plan and stuff like that, I need the Dolphins. Come on, Chris Greer. Let's
fire Mike McDaniel already, right? Just get him fired so we get him in our building. Oh, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. But yeah, it's. I know Saquon touched on it today. He was asked by reporters, and like he kind of like downplayed it a little bit. And the reporters also asked Jalen in his press conference, and he, they were hush hush. They were just like, that's between us. But whether it was kind of just like an unplanned thing or whatnot, we'll see how it goes. And I think like this whole, you touched on it, this whole thing of like AJ and Hurts don't have a healthy relationship thing is so overblown that it's nauseating at this point. I can't even describe like how it's
a workplace, people.
Like
how many people do you work with on projects that you necessarily don't get along with, but you work well together?
You work with it, yeah.
It's cool. Like
it's and I said this before on Twitter. I said it again a few weeks ago because I had said it in the offseason. and I'll re-say it again, like no one knows what their personal relationship is aside from those two and their families. Those are the only people that know exactly what their personal relationship is. Like none of it, we could all speculate. We can all say, oh, like, you know, they're not friends anymore, or we can all say, oh, they're just keeping it professional. They're probably still good. Like this is all speculation. None of us know, but there's nothing I've seen that shows me they still can't work well together.
Like they deserve the benefit of the doubt, unlike a team that plays across the street. That I didn't get me started there.
Yeah, I know you, but yeah, it's so those are solutions I have. Those are all the solutions I have going forward. You know, not even just against the Giants. But
how do you feel about? We talked about offensive side leading into Thursday's game. How do you feel now about our defense? Do you feel as if Ringo played better this week?
Yeah.
You know, and
I was more impressed this week than I was the week before.
If Adoree or Bennett was healthy, do you think Ringo has solidified himself as right now as CB2?
I think he deserves another week. Like I think it's a progressive thing. If he keeps building on these performances, it's his. But would I say it's a lock? Has he done enough to lock himself into that position? I don't think so. Okay. I hope it doesn't happen. I'm not hoping for it, but like if he has a bad performance against the Giants, all this goodwill the past 2 weeks goes out the window, like in back to square one. So I don't think he's locked it up, but he deserves another week at it. So you know, I have someone who has been pushing for Bennett because I like that Bennett's coverage skills are sticky, and I like his athletic ability more than Ringo's, and I like his tackling ability more than Ringo's. But Ringo has been very sound in his assignments and very smart, and hasn't given up anything huge, hasn't made any severe mistakes. So that's all we need. So if he continues to do that, I'm good with it. So yeah, I'm good with Ringo going forward. I'm not concerned about this defense. I don't care.
Jacoby back, so I don't know how that's going to look.
They're going to ease him in. I really think like they're going to ease him back into action. It's not going to be a thing. Like he's not going to be 100% anytime soon.
Right.
I think he's going to be eased back. He's going to work into some type of rotation in there, and that's fine. But I wouldn't expect like a large role anytime soon.
I agree.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say about the Eagles versus Giants, like, so we're talking about like our passing offense can get fixed. So the one thing we've had issues with so far is zone coverage, right? We talk about defenses putting zone coverage on us because like we had success against the Broncos in the first half because they kept playing man. But once that Saquon touchdown hit, they went zone, and that's when they really shut us down. So what do the Giants play on on their defense on the back end? What do they lean toward? So using this new, I said it to you. This was just announced today, and this is like one of my favorite things ever now that I've seen. Sumer Sports has come up with Sumer Brain. It's in the beta pages, and it's pretty much a search engine for all football stats and data. So you put in whatever you ask it, whatever you want, and it comes up with it. It's one of the most amazing things. I've been wanting something like this forever, and I could like die of happiness that they have this. So I put in there, how much zone coverage do the New York Giants play this season compared to man coverage, and how successful have they been at each? Sumer Brain comes up and says the Giants play zone coverage on 55.1% of their passing plays and man coverage on 44.9%. In terms of success, the Giants have been significantly more effective in man coverage with a 57% success rate and negative 0.023 average EPA for the defense. Their zone coverage has been less effective with a 46.4% success rate and a negative 0.220 average EPA. So despite using zone coverage more frequently, which is typical around the NFL, so I wouldn't put too much into that. The Giants' defense performance metrics suggest they have more success when they play man coverage this season. So that if you go off of that plays into our hands because if they're going to want to play so much man and because that's what their bread and butter is, I don't think they can stop us.
Right.
However, if they're going to see the film of previous weeks and say, okay, we are going to alter course this week and we're going to go zone heavy, then it'll be interesting. Because they haven't been as good in zone, but if that's what the
Eagles, you see they clearly struggle with zone versus man.
Yeah, so I don't know what the Giants are going to do. That'll be very interesting. Are they going to lean into what they do best, or are they going to say, hey, we're going to play zone because that's what the Eagles struggle with, and then we'll see how they go. So it's very interesting. That's something to watch out for if the Giants continue to play more man or they're going to go heavy zone. So anything else that you wanted to bring up before we get to – I did want to bring up the one Eagles clip.
No.
No? All right. So before we transition to the Seahawks-Bucs, let's bring up this clip that we had put together. It's it has to do with sequencing, and as we alluded to, there were flashes of better sequencing in this game. So this is the 17-yard run by Saquon in their first quarter. There's a pitch to the outside, and you see, again, outside run. They had success with it here. So as it goes to the next play, you'll see they build on this. So now they're going to they're marrying their pass and run concepts together. They're going to fake that toss to Saquon, and now you're going to see Calcaterra, run that shallow cross, and they're going to pick up some yardage on here. So this is a good sign because this was the very next play. This is a good sign from Kevin Patullo and the Eagles on being able to build on these plays and sequence them together. Issue with the next play, which doesn't come till the third quarter. So now it's halfway through the third quarter, and they're going to try that concept again, fake the pitch to Saquon, right? And they're going to try to get, I think there's AJ out running this shallow, but if you see Talanoa Hufanga, who had a great game, he gets on the backside. And
he's from the Niners, right?
He was from the Niners, yeah.
Okay.
From the Niners, yeah. He had injuries, so like they let him walk. But yeah, he comes in on the pressure on the backside and pretty much blows the play up because he's able to affect the pass. So it's a good thing that they're building this together. There's still stuff to work on, but like continue to do this type of stuff. So I thought that was very interesting to see. But like they do need to account for backside blitzers because there were 3 plays by Hufanga where he was blitzing on the backside and he completely blew up the play. It was a tackle for loss on Shipley in the first half. It was that play. And then the third one was the one where he deflected the ball, he tipped it up in the air, and he almost picked it off. So like they have to be able to account for backside blitzers and not let players like Hufanga wreck the play anymore. So wanted to highlight that. Any input on those plays real quick?
No, I mean it's the sequencing. You can clearly see like they send more men than we can block, and we don't have an answer for it. And that's the second step. The first step is we don't have an answer for the zone coverages yet, and I think Devontae and AJ both can live in the zone. May have to get Dotson more involved. I know we talked about it offline. See Saquon more involved in the passing aspect, not just running wheel routes. Maybe getting in some option routes. I would love some screens against zone. Like zone creates that space, and you can find voids within that space. So how can you use the space against the defense that's calling the zones and playing the zone coverage? And we haven't proven that yet. Hence why, guess what, Jalen? Guess what, KP? Guess what, Nick? you guys are not going to get blitzed anymore like that because you've proven that you can beat the blitz.
Yes, yeah. Yep.
So now you solved that problem. Here's another one.
Here's another one. Some pressures with zone coverage on the back end. Yep. You're going to have to fix that now. All right, so let's transition. Let's go over to our film room and talk about the game of the week from the NFL this week in Week 5. Seahawks-Bucs. This wasn't showing on here in this area, so I pulled it up on streaming, and I am sure glad I did because this was a doozy. This game was back and forth, like especially in the second half. Like end of the first half. That's when it really picked up because that's like the Seahawks got a drive together and scored their first touchdown. Beautiful drive, by the way. And from then on, it was just haymaker after haymaker after haymaker. So it was amazing. I mean, we saw not only Darnold and Baker really try to outdo each other, but we saw wide receiver Ohio State, JSN and Egbuka go, trade blows with each other too. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And then like obviously Kenneth Walker had a great game too, despite limited touches. And then Rashad White on his end had a great game too. So it was just like hardly any defense, which like with this on the Seahawks end, you can't. It was kind of expected because they came into the game like Devin Witherspoon, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Julian Love didn't play, and then during the game, Derek Hall and Reek Woolen got injured. So like they were shorthanded on the defensive side. So like it was kind of like expected for them to kind of struggle on that end. But yeah, and
it's hard to win in Seattle.
It is hard to win in Seattle.
As a road team, it's hard to win in Seattle, especially coming from a non-divisional opponent, coming from the opposite side of the country. Had a tough game against a physical team last week in the Eagles. Yeah, man. I forget how, because I feel like the Bucs scored, because I think there's a play in here. The Hawks go up 34-28 in the fourth, and then the Bucs score 10 unanswered. But I want to feel like it's almost like less than 5 minutes in the game, and they're doing this without their true one-on-one beater and Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, the Seahawks, their go-ahead touchdown drive was like it started at their own 1 yard line, so that was a 99-yard drive, and it was such a good drive because like you had so it starts on their 1 yard line. So like even before that, right? So the Bucs have it. They have a chance to go up, but then I think it was Uchenna Nwosu gets the sack on second down, and then on third down it's an incomplete pass by Baker, and then the Bucs punt, and the ball gets on the 1 yard line for the Seahawks. So like they've got to march down the field. But I don't know if you remember, but it was a pass to Cooper Kupp that got deflected, and then Kupp caught it and then got the first down with 9 yards. And then the very next play, Kenneth Walker gets a 22-yard run. And then I believe the next play after that was a play-action pass to JSN.
The big one, yeah.
For 22 yards. And then on top of that, the Bucs get called for roughing the passer on Darnold. Yeah. And so that adds even 15 more. 22, and so like they marched down the field. They marched down the field on that. And then what I thought was the best play of the game was when Darnold under pressure sheds a couple of tackles and then finds Torrey Horton for that touchdown. That was like play of the game, and we'll show it here soon. But yeah, like that was such an impressive drive to go up. And then the Bucs come back and have an impressive drive themselves, which opened with Egbuka's like big 25-yard catch. A couple of Baker scrambles.
Give credits to Todd Bowles, man. This is his third year in a row, different OC, and he
knows how to find them. Yeah, 100%. Like they've been able to figure it out. Like we complain about the lack of success we've had with internal hires, but the Bucs keep hiring,
Yeah.
Internally, and they like each OC has been phenomenal for them. So yeah, credit to them. But like it just back and forth, and I what I want to say is I know that interception at the end was bad, and I think that people were saying like they don't put that on Darnold because it deflected off of the helmet of his O lineman. But in my opinion, like that's still on Darnold.
Right.
Like you have to, in that situation, knowing where you are, you have to be conservative. Like take the sack. It's a tie game. Take the sack. Don't put it in harm's way. And because he tried to throw it, and where he tried to throw it, I don't know, even if it was going where he had intended, there was no open receiver, so it would have been in harm's way regardless. So he's got to be better in that situation. But outside of that, one of the stigmas against Darnold was that like he's bad under pressure, but he hasn't been bad under pressure. Like in this game, he only had 2 incompletions when under pressure. I think he was like 10 of 12 under pressure. And again, like 1 incompletion and 1 was that interception. But he was making plays when he was under pressure, and he's been really good at it. And I think that casual fans, they're gonna continue to like ignore how well he's been playing because of that interception, and then he had that fumble against the Niners late in the game. So they'll look at that and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, he's still Sam Darnold. He's still Sam Darnold. He's not good, but he's been playing great ball as of late."
Yep.
And I think that can't be ignored.
And it shows that they were right. I mean, they were right in their thinking to move on from Geno, get your resources, and they brought in Sam Darnold.
Yep. Yeah, he's one of the most explosive passers, explosive QBs in the league when it comes to like explosive pass play. He's been accurate and decisive. So like hats off to him. Like despite that interception, like he's playing lights out. The one thing I wanted to before we get to that, let me get to a clip, because like these two, in my opinion, we talk about Darnold, we talk about JSN. These 2 passes were some of the best passes of the day for Darnold. The first one to JSN here, this was toward the end of the first half, and you're gonna see JSN motion out. He comes from the backfield. He's gonna motion out now, out wide, and that's gonna signify zone coverage. But I want you to see the window here that he fits this in, and oh my god, like this is such a tight window, and it's gonna slow down here when it gets to that. But this is a bullet and a dime. Look at that. That is such a great pass. That is such a great pass. And this was like with 9 seconds left in the first half. So this gets them on the board. But again, like JSN comes from the backfield, he's going to motion out to signify zone. And look at JSN's route too. He's going to do a good job of opening up that corner, which gives him enough space when he makes that move to the inside and then touchdown. But this throwing window, man, this is
it's the patience and the route design to allow it to open up, and like you said, using the inside leverage, open up his hips, and with that tail to go outside to get that DB to flip his hips to give him the inside. And Darnold made a perfect throw.
Perfect throw. Like this is accuracy. It's got juice on it too. That is a tight window throw, and it's clutch because it's end of the half, and you need this. So it's phenomenal throw. One of the better throws in the game.
That's not a pistol formation, is it?
No, that would just be regular shotgun. Yeah.
So shotgun, but to have JSN line up in the backfield,
the backfield. Yeah,
I wonder how often they do that.
What was that?
I said, I wonder how often they line JSN like that in the backfield and put him in
From what I know, I think they've done it a couple other times. I could be wrong. I think they've done it a couple other times in previous games, but I have to go back. Yeah, I don't know for sure. I haven't been keeping an eye out for that, but I think I do remember they have done it a little bit previously. But this throw, the second throw I want to show. This is this is anticipation. Let me fast forward. This one comes in the fourth quarter. Yeah, fourth quarter, beginning of fourth quarter. So Jason's at the top. As you can see, I highlighted him at the target. And Pete, we talk about anticipation. This is look when Darnold throws, right? Hold on. I'm going to back it up just a little bit. So you can see,
he already knows.
When he releases this, right? So he's winding up now. JSN is still on his route set. He hasn't even hit the top of his route. He is still running his route stem when Darnold decides to pull the trigger on this. That is anticipation. And look where it gets. That's anticipation. That's pinpoint accuracy. And this was on 3rd and 5 for the Seahawks. That is an amazing throw by Darnold on another crucial down. Whew. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Yeah. So Darnold's dealing. Darnold's dealing.
K9 is hot. Sharps is hot in my dynasty league. I know you hate it because he be vulturing.
Yeah, he vultures K9 all the time. K9 gets all the yards, and then when they get in their goal line, Sharps is just plowing it in. It frustrates me, but I mean, K9's doing this thing, and the one other Darnold thing, or schematically with the Seahawks, Brett Coleman brought this up last week, so I wanted to check it out this week, and so that's why I pulled these clips coming up. But an interesting thing that the Seahawks offense does is when most teams, when they in today's NFL, when they're under center, they either are running the ball or they're doing some type of play action, right? Especially if it's a play action deep shot or a pass to the flat, right? But what the Seahawks have been doing is they're actually running true drop back pass game from under center, which you really don't see in today's NFL. You don't see it. There's no play action. They're running 3-step drop, 5-step drop, passing concepts where they're running quick game or they're doing concepts to the intermediate level of the field. And what that does is it makes their under center game that much more unpredictable. So defenses don't quite know, are they running it? Are they calling a deep shot? Or are they going to go quick game? Or are they going to go it's just an interesting little nugget and detail that Clint Kubiak is running that is awesome. It's phenomenal. And so I'll run these clips. As you can see, so there were 10 under center plays by Darnold against the Buccaneers, and 4 of them were non-play action, and 3 of them were successful. So the first one here, this is going to be, I think this goes for 11 yards to JSN.
The next one here, I think this is the slant. Yeah, yep. Look at that. 3 steps.
3 steps out. This next play to Kenneth Walker, this goes for 0. But this is what I mean by intermediate. So let me back it up. So while the other ones were quick game, right? This one under center now shows now they're working their intermediate level passing concepts. Now it doesn't work. He doesn't find anyone open and checks it. He checks it down to Kenneth Walker here. It goes for no gain, but it just shows what they're doing. And then this last one, this was the Horton touchdown to end the game. Another just phenomenal play. This is great play by Sam Darnold. You see the fans going crazy, but again, these are actual non-play action passing concepts that they're running from under center, and it's keeping defenses on their toes, and it's kind of refreshing, right? Because it's a homage to old school, not even old school, would 2000s qualify as old school?
It's 25 years old.
Oh my god!
It's a quarter of a century ago.
My god, it's so bad. But
time flies when we have fun.
Under center, drop back passing game. the Seahawks are doing it. And if you are a fan of that, and I know like guys like Kurt Warner are huge fans of that, you're going to love what the Seahawks have been doing. So kudos to them. And yeah, the last point you pointed out, Kenneth Walker, he needs more touches, man. Like he is clearly the better back there. And he only has 10 carries. And they went for 86 yards. And for some reason, like four of the plays. So like this is the first one. Like there's a theme here. They're like these big plays are to the right side, so they clearly saw something in against the Bucs defense where they can attack that right side because all the big gains came in that direction. So Kenneth Walker here, I think this is 14 yards. This next one is going to be another outside zone, and this goes for I believe 31. This is the 31-yard pickup in the third quarter. Yeah, like. He's off to the races. Like he's providing explosive plays. These are I think 3 of his carries went for explosive plays. And he only had 10 carries. This next one was a shovel pass. It was called back due to penalty, so it didn't count. But again, another example: the right side, and Kenneth Walker's going to catch a shovel pass. Look at him, makes a defender miss, and he picks up 12. That was a first down, but again, called back due to penalty. But it's just another example. Explosive plays from Kenneth Walker, and then this is the one in the fourth quarter on that go ahead drive inside zone, and he goes for 12 or no 22. I'm sorry, 22 yards. So he needs more touches. Like I don't know if they are preserving him for later in the year, and that's why they're kind of like going 50-50. But man, like he is clearly the better back of.
I mean, I would say like if you're just looking at running backs this far through 5 games, Bijan, I'll probably say Jonathan Taylor 1, Bijan 2.
I'd flip them, but I hear you. Yeah. You have an argument for JT.
I'm not talking about as far as I'm just talking about as talent, like not so much even talent, but production. What we've seen from yards, like Taylor. If you don't have those the hold on AD last week, and that touchdown run, he had a similar run in Tennessee. He had I think he had 80 and 3 touchdowns this past Sunday.
He's going off. It's amazing. It's insane. Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, Bijan and JT are like to me right now tier 1.
1A and 1B.
Yeah.
And right now, even K9 is performing better than Saquon, but that's more than it goes more into the block and then the run schemes or the run fit. And hell, listen, if there's anything that a last person's name as an offensive coordinator in the NFL can do is run the ball, and that's when your fucking last name is Kubiak. You better not.
Yeah. Yep. Like Kubiak's going to be able to run the ball like that. Absolutely. All right, let's get into no huddle a little bit and let's finish this off. You wanna start off? You have anything?
So the only thing I have for no huddle tonight is Duval.
That was one of mine. What a game!
Yeah, listen, Travis Hunter is a fucking joystick. He was making oh my god, so many people miss. I don't know, man. The Chiefs
are they legit? 4-1, I believe. Are they 4-1?
They have another tough game this week. Who do they play?
That is a good question. I forget.
I was just looking. Do they play the Chargers? No.
I'm about to check.
It's not an easy, but you figure 49ers in San Fran beat them.
They play Seattle.
I knew it. I was like, I know they play somebody that's not a slouch. But what do they play? I think they play them in Seattle, don't they?
They play. No, it's in Jacksonville.
It's in Jacksonville. What time? 1 o'clock.
That is 1 o'clock game.
I'm taking it over in that game.
Jags, yeah.
Devin Lloyd has been
got to fly.
I think he's had like 4 picks on the year already.
Who?
Devin Lloyd.
Oh, yeah, I think it's 4 picks, yeah.
Yeah, linebacker to Utah.
Yeah, breakout year. Breakout year for him. Quiet
as kept, man. It's going to be tough for it. This coach of the year battle through the first 5 weeks is something else. It's definitely something else.
Yeah,
but I think they're legit. I think the AFC South, we were looking at it, it's still not the strongest division, but the Colts gonna have something to say, and then now don't look. Watch out, the Texans the one too.
Yeah, Texans aren't going away.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure some stuff out. So, yeah, well, the AFC South is looking strong. Yeah, but the Jags, such an impressive win. I couldn't believe that game-winning touchdown by Lawrence. Like, I was like, when he fell down, at first I'm like, bro, just stay down. Just stay down. You go to the next play. And he's like getting up, and I'm like, the moment he gets up, I'm like, because I'm looking at the defenders, right? I'm looking at the pressure and all of the defensive linemen. I'm looking out in space. I'm like, he hasn't lane. He could score. He had to get past the one defensive lineman.
Right.
But the moment then once he broke that tackle, I'm like, he's in. Oh my God.
I think there were some stories I heard coming out like Chris Jones's lack of effort on the play or
on that
something.
play. Yeah, I think I read something.
But I mean, no, like you got 3 out of 4. You 3 out of 4 Super Bowls. 5. I mean, actually, what 4 out of 5? And you lost 2. I think they've been to the last 5 in a row.
I don't
if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but they've been to most of them recently.
You got San Fran, they won.
They beat us too. Yeah. So
Tampa Bay, they lost. Us, they won. Who went in 23?
Rams.
Well, no, wasn't it San Fran? San Fran again.
San Fran again, and then
they beat them.
They went for the 3-peat against us last year.
Yeah, they beat us, beat the Niners, and then lost to us. But then they lost to the Bucs, and then they. Was there a gap between when they?
There was a gap because remember when the Rams won it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
the Rams won the 1 year against
21 was the gap, so they've been to the last 4. They've been to the last 4.
Yeah.
So that means last 4 in a row. So they've been to 5. They've been to 5 out of 6. So that's a lot of high quality football, man. And I think it's almost like it's just not just because you are who you are, it's not going to be given to you.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If anything, teams are going to bring it more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. They're always going to bring their best against you. So, you're always going to be looked at as like the measuring stick now. So, yeah, phenomenal win then going from that upset to
right
the other upset the night before. You're talking about Patriots Bills, Drake May's coming out party. I mean, my God, I should reword that. Not his coming out party because he's been playing well, but his first national exposure, to everyone. Because if you're not watching the Patriots, then you don't know for real. But like, what a game for like his debut on national television. He is the real deal. Amazing performance by him. Amazing performance in his return to Buffalo by Stephon Diggs. Like, man, like 2 weeks in a row now he's balling out.
Like 160 or something like that.
Yeah, and you could tell that one long reception he had. He wanted so bad to get into the end zone. Like he got tackled just short, and he was pissed. He was so mad. But yeah, like that Patriots team, they're not going away. They are fighting, and they are playing well. They're playing.
They are, and then there was one play. It's like a 15 or I think it was the play that Diggs bobbled it, caught it, and then ran. He ran for like 10. He ran over to the Bills sideline. He ended up in the Bills sideline. He literally was giving them the finger on the way back to the huddle. So somebody said something to him that was in plain clothes. And he was giving him the finger, man. I mean, it's hard to say. Like when we sit here and we say AJ's not a diva, he's not this, he's not that. Like if you look at what Stephon had with Josh Allen, like, and that wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? So you never know how these things are going to play out, but. It was definitely a week of the rise of the up and comers.
Up and comers, yeah, for the two nights,
yeah. It was a rise of up and comers from the Pats beating the Bills, obviously the Broncos beating the Eagles, Jags beating Kansas City, QB controversy in San Fran. You can't tie that.
The people in San Fran won't tell you that, but I mean,
it definitely should be.
Mac Jones, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is week 5. Things always get spooky around week 5, man.
Yeah. I wasn't planning to mention this, but you're talking about like that performance by Mac Jones in that game. What I will say is like Kyren Williams is a good running back. He absolutely has a fumbling issue.
Yes.
This isn't even like a phase. This is who he has been since college.
Yes.
He's always had fumbling issue, right? And I think this is an issue with Sean McVay. For some reason, he loves Kyren Williams so much that he is going to continue to make Kyren Williams the bell cow there.
Right.
Again, Kyren Williams is a good back. I'm not saying he should be benched, but I find it very, very interesting. And I think we had mentioned this on last week's show, how Blake Corum getting more touches now has started to look kind of pretty good. Like he's a good change up from Kyren. Yep. He has a little bit more juice than Kyren, and he has exceptional vision as well, like amazing vision for work. So he's been playing well in the limited touches that he's been getting, right? He fumbles that one pitch, and he gets essentially benched, right? And I just find it very ironic how McVay benches Corum because of that. And then Kyren pretty much has the blunder of the game as he fumbles right at the goal line, which prevents the Rams from going ahead.
Yep.
But he's not going to, obviously, he's not going to bench Kyren. And then in overtime, on 4th and short, instead of putting the ball in the hands of Matthew Stafford, who has Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams to throw to,
right,
he chooses to run it with Kyren, and Kyren gets stuffed. And at the end of the game. It's just he loves Kyren, but it's to a fault. I think it's showing
it's hurting his team in a sense.
Yeah. It doesn't. It needs to be. It's not going to be. Don't expect it to be. But in my opinion, it should be more of a 50-50. It should be more of like a 1A, 1B type of situation.
It's almost should be like what the Detroit Lions do.
Yes. And both can be successful. Like Kyren is a good back. I don't know how many times I say Kyren Williams is a very good back. He needs to have a role. And he can make an impact. But let's not ignore the elephant in the room that his fumbling issues have cost them at times. I mean, it cost him against the game against us last year. He fumbled right at the beginning drive, and it gave us momentum. So, yeah, that's a blind spot for Sean McVay right now.
So, fam, that is all for us tonight. We appreciate you watching. We'll go live 8 o'clock in the morning. You know where to find us, HTD Radio. Shout out to our sponsor, Alonzi Travel. Specialize in creating a vacation of your dreams at Disney, Universal, wherever your heart calls to you. Hashtag, you see it on the ticker at the bottom. Reach out to Chucks directly to get a quote. It's special prices right now for 2026. Charles at Alonzi has our -travel.com. Peace.